Your thoughts on Arkansas losing the College World Series? Was that a fluke to LSU? What are fluke plays that have cost the Vols in big games in the past? There have been quite a few. We discussed the 2001 season, and if you want to fill in your votes, go right ahead. The flukiest games that cost Tennessee a football game, and this was a big one, 2001 SEC championship game. You probably remember the Tony Thompson fumble. You probably remember the Dante Stallworth fumble.
You mean this Travis Stevens fumble?
Oh, what did I say?
You said Tony Thompson.
Oh. Travis Stevens fumble. That's going way back. And you probably remember the draw that Tennessee's defense just couldn't stop. But before all of that, there was a drop Julian Battle interception in the flat that would have ended the game.
Yeah, and that actually, interestingly enough, breaking all this down. So the 2001 is the most heartbreaking, worst loss for Tennessee in Tennessee football history. It's not, they didn't lose it off a fluke play though. So that's why I'm comparing this, and we're going to play hot or cold, is the fluke losses that we're going to name with Tennessee. Are they more heartbreaking than Arkansas's College World Series loss? I can't call the 2001 LSU loss fluky. LSU won by 2 scores. Like LSU I can't bring it down to one fluke play.
Yeah, I'm gonna disagree because I think when you talk about Bayer, it looked like they were actually trying to throw the football to Julian Battle, and it hit him right in the chest. Now, he did the defensive back thing instead of making the triangle. He did like that. So that's just begging to drop it. But I just go back, and I think that was kind of lost in all the mayhem that followed. Your thoughts on flukiest game or flukiest play that changed the game? Go ahead and get on board. It is Hot or Cold, brought to you by City Heating and Air Conditioning, cityheatandair.com.
Hi, Mike Davis here with City Heating and Air, reminding you to always dare to compare. Our team provides quality local heating and air service, installation, and maintenance across East Tennessee. We use only the best equipment like American Standard Heating and Air Conditioning for your residential, new construction, or commercial needs. Honesty, dependability, and customer satisfaction have been the cornerstones of our business since 1961. City Heat and Air.
There's your fair.
We knew this one would come up. Jabbar Gaffney still hasn't caught that pass. What did you make of that pass, that completion?
For those who don't know, the 2000 Florida game, Tennessee dominated on the ground. They controlled the game all the way until the very end when Florida went 91 yards on the final drive, and Jabbar Gaffney dropped a pass that was ruled a touchdown. Definitely fluky. I never considered that as fluky as others, though, because that was only second down. Florida still had two more downs to go, and they were only down by field goal. So I think Florida still would have scored a touchdown probably on the next play. And
or probably knowing Steve Spurrier would have gone for it on fourth down. The reason that one's a little bit fluky to me is they had just addressed that rule in the offseason. So it was a point of emphasis that you had instantaneous possession, which you and I guess technically he had instantaneous possession, but there's no way that should have been a touchdown. But they had just addressed that just a few weeks earlier in some of their meetings.
See, the flukiest one to me of that whole game was Tennessee had a chance to get a first down when they had the ball before Florida's game-winning drive on 3rd and 1, and they do a toss to Travis Henry. And I don't know why they don't just run up the middle with Travis Henry, the guy who never got tackled behind the line of scrimmage. That would have clinched the game if he gets that first down. Now, a few others I wanted to go down real quick because Florida has, for those who don't know, a pretty good track record of giving Tennessee horrible heartbreaks. 2017 Florida, the Hail Mary from Felipe Franks. And the game that I think put Butch Jones, that game effectively fired Butch Jones. The 2017 loss to Florida. I'm cold on that being a bigger heartbreaker than Arkansas, though, Dave, because it didn't cost Tennessee anything, and Tennessee probably got a break losing that game because it got Butch Jones fired, which they wanted.
And you're talking about Arkansas baseball. So for those that didn't see, just kind of describe
Arkansas baseball was up 5-3 with 2 outs yesterday, and an error in left field led LSU to score 2 runs, and then LSU win the game 6-5 and eliminate Arkansas from the College World Series. It's the second time Arkansas has lost off a walk-off in the College World Series. They're the most cursed program in baseball. So 2017 Florida, I can't say more heartbreaking than Arkansas because it didn't cost anything. Now 2015 Florida, Tennessee had a 2-score lead in the 4th quarter. Butch Jones set on the lead, and Tennessee lost off a game-winning touchdown on 4th and 13. That one was definitely worse. But the one that we all want to talk about too, speaking of losing to LSU in heartbreaking fashion, 2010 LSU, where Chuck Smith sent the entire, like, every Tennessee player and fan onto the field.
Yeah, I will be honest with you. Like, all of Tennessee's coaches that they hired since Lane Kiffin, I thought this isn't going to work from the get-go. And I really did. And I'm not just trying to brag about that or something along those lines. But here's what I will say. In that LSU game, I honestly, for a moment, thought that Derek Dooley might be the answer. And then I saw at least 38 defensive tackles running out onto the field. And I was like, okay, well, that's not going to work. But I will tell you that I honestly thought for a moment that he was the answer. Are you hot or cold on that? Do you agree or disagree? Brought to you by City Heating and Air Conditioning, cityheatandair.com.
Hi, Mike Davis here with City Heating and Air, reminding you to always dare to compare. Our team provides quality local heating and air service, installation, and maintenance across East Tennessee. We use only the best equipment like American Standard heating and air conditioning for your residential, new construction, or commercial needs. Honesty, dependability, and customer satisfaction have been the cornerstones of our business since 1961. City Heat and Air.
Dare to compare.
The other one that we probably need to mention, you want to address that one first?
The LSU game, or no? Let's go to the other one. What's the other one we need to mention?
Well, it has to be Anthony Anderson and the fumble right short of the Alabama goal line, right?
The fumble
Not
short.
Anthony Anderson.
Corey Anderson. Yes, where they lost 6-3. Randy Sanders made the greatest play call of his life on that screen, the Corey Anderson, and he fumbles just short. Yeah, that was brutal. I got a couple more from the early days. 92 Arkansas. For those who don't know, Arkansas scores a touchdown. They're trailing 24-16. Tennessee's undefeated in the top 5. Arkansas scores a touchdown, misses on the 2-point conversion, but gets the onside kick, kicks a game-winning field goal, wins 25-24. That started a 3-game losing streak that got Johnny Majors fired. And the 1990 Alabama game, Tennessee's going to kick a game-winning field goal, score tied at 6, and Alabama blocks the field goal and it rolls all the way back into Tennessee territory for them to kick.
That was my first. I was old enough to go to a game day party. I didn't know why everybody was acting goofier as the game day party went on, but apparently my parents couldn't find a babysitter. So I always remember that's like my first mega memory game that's just locked in there.
Oh, yeah. And that's when Tennessee absolutely should have won.
Yeah.
And
everybody, every inebriated person that was nearby thought so as well.
I think that's the flukiest loss they might have had. Like, to have the ball blocked and go all the way the other way. And by the way, if Tennessee doesn't lose that game, they might be in the running for the national championship at the end of that year in 1990.
What about this? We have Arian. Lost it. Okay. We have Arian Foster's fumble, and he wants
Penn
to
State. He does. Arian Foster does want to be.
He went out of his way to find my phone number and call me on the air and tell me that he wanted to box with me.
That's actually really funny, and it's because of a headline that you didn't even write.
Right. But, if I need to get in there and show him a thing or two, I'll go.
The 96 Memphis game where, the elbow down that wasn't called. That is true. But at the same time, you're Peyton Manning. You shouldn't be only scoring 17 points against Memphis. You should be and like people were like, I know some people have defended like, well, they had a bunch of draft picks on that defense. It's Memphis. You're Peyton Manning. You were the best quarterback of a generation. You should score more than 17 points against a group of 5 program like that.
No, that team, I think that team had some issues in terms of consistent motivation and maturity. And I think it actually helped them in 98. So
I agree with you.
I'm going to do that again.
Yeah. No, I totally agree with you on that.
I mean, in particular, the Auburn game, if you're a defensive player, you want to go over to the sidelines and Al Wilson's hurt, but he's waving a towel and he looks like he's about to go crazy on somebody who doesn't do their job. I mean, that they were so disciplined. It was just amazing.
That was a hideous win. Remember that Auburn game?
It was really ugly. They had a couple of hideous wins.
You know the sad story of the Auburn game? I mean, it's kind of a sad story in the moment, but T. Martin, obviously from Alabama, that was his first start back home in Alabama, in the state of Alabama. He had his whole family show up for that game. Tennessee won, but T. Martin was horrible in that game. And I think that a lot of people felt T. Martin should be benched after that game. in the Auburn game. And it wasn't until the next week against Georgia where they realized, oh, T. Martin's our guy.
Well, I think they were very blessed that things blew over with T. Martin. Because if you remember, there was supposedly a Tennessee booster who helped him financially about the time he became a top flight prospect. Not when he was 11 or 12.
What are you talking about? T.
But when he
Martin
was,
was.
I know, but
How
when,
dare you?
I know, but when he was 14 or 15, went up to Bud. Remember those wax statues they had of Peyton Manning and T. Martin? Do you remember those?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I went up to Bud Ford one time and I said, "Would I get in trouble if I stuffed a little bit of cash in Martin's pocket?" The show represented by Banks and Jones. BanksandJones.com. You didn't like that?
That's a pretty good one.
East Tennessee. He is absolutely your lawyer, and we're very blessed to be associated with Ted Russell Ford Lincoln Studios as well. That's our studio sponsorship, and we love them. And the customer service is through the roof. Coming up here momentarily. Now, I would never stick to there. Do you want to go through any more of these through City Heating?
We pretty much knocked them off. I think the ones that are more heartbreaking, we pretty much knocked them off. I think the ones that are more heartbreaking than Arkansas's loss is 2015 Florida, 2000 Florida. I guess I'll give you 2001 LSU Julian battle, played 92 Arkansas and 90 Alabama.